Here is another video that will make a big difference, especially if you're going to be doing any of your own plumbing or electrical when it comes to dealing with top plate connections and framing and plumbing pipes that are going to be running through these areas and electrical wires. Now, the first thing I want to point out is that most framing breaks, the building plans usually require 12 nails on each side of the framing breaks. And that's a lot of nails. And if we step back here, you can kind of see that when it's over a window header or another place where there might not be a lot of electrical or plumbing running through those areas, these could be the perfect spots. And since you're going to need these nails at every single break, then it's not going to be a bad idea to try and design the house to where you're going to have these breaks strategically located. And of course, it's not going to be a bad idea to use the longest framing plates possible so that you don't end up with a situation like this all the time. Now, I'm not saying this is going to be a bad situation, especially if the electrical or the plumbing is going to be running in this area and you're not going to have anything in these areas. So again, you can see where planning out the framing breaks and using the correct lengths of lumber could make a big difference in your project, especially if you need to use straps that are going to be 48 inches long and require like 50 or 60 nails in them. And I don't know how many nails they require, but now instead of having all of these nails running through the top plates, let's say vertically, you now are going to have them running through horizontally. So either way, something like this or the 12 nails on each side of the framing break can create a problem for the plumber or the electrician who needs to drill a hole through them. Now, let's take a look at the break and let me explain why you might need a strap there. So if you remember, we had a break here, and if you have a break in between the framing plates that is shorter than 48 inches, then you might need to put a long strap on it. Now, that will be determined by your engineer or your local building authorities. So if you're just building something on your own, yeah, you can put your brakes wherever you want to. That might not be a big deal. But if you are going to be building a new house or remodeling, putting a room addition on, this is something you're really going to have to think about if you have any plumbing or electrical coming through the framing plates in these areas. Now, something else I need to point out is since the strap is here, some of you might be wondering, would you need a strap over here? No, because once we put the strap on here, we've made a solid connection here. So the break is no longer there in a way. And then this break right here is going to be less than 4 foot, or I should say more than 4 foot away, because it's going all the way back to the other break in either direction. Now, if you do run into a situation where you need to put a pipe through an area like this, it's really not going to be that big of a deal. You just leave the nails out. Do not put them in. If you put them in, the plumber's just going to pull them out, so why put them in the first place? And again, if you don't know where the pipes are going, then fill the nail holes and then the plumber can pull them out. Hopefully they can pull them out and then the nail heads don't pop off. For those of you who are wondering, what's the big deal? The plumber usually comes in, or the electrician, and they drill a hole into the wall framing plates and hit a nail with their drill, and that ends up either jerking their arm around or dulling the drill bit. And within a short period of time, they're going to have to either get another drill bit or sharpen the other one. So if you can avoid having any obstacles in their way, they are going to become your new best friend, especially if you're going to be working with these people over and over again on different projects. Let me remove the pipe so you can see there are a couple nails in the way. So not a biggie. If you take and you look down, you're framing the walls, and you can see that there's a pipe coming out of the concrete. There's a good chance this pipe's going to be running through the plates. Then simply leave some of the nails out. Or you can take and relocate the nails a little farther back. Now, when I was doing this, I remember that it said there had to be 12 nails on each side of the framing plate. I could space them farther back. There wasn't an exact amount. It didn't say, no, it had to be 2 inches from the break and then spaced evenly 1.5 inches away. I never ever ran into something like that. If you have, feel free to let us know, but this isn't a big problem. You have a situation like this where there's a pipe coming through, you just simply move your nails around to make it work. And of course, if there was a strap, again, you would just take and leave the nails out. And let's go ahead and take a look at what I'm talking about as far as the framing plates. You know, here we have a continuous plate, a couple of breaks here, and the fact that this is a continuous plate, I can cut a 2-foot piece here and a smaller piece here, because this is going to be my continuous tie here for this situation. Of course, you wouldn't want that, but I can't tell you how many times I came to jobs, and this was a long time ago, where you would have 2 foot from the edge, you would have a break, and then you would have a break here, and they might have a piece going all the way across, and the framer might even use scraps to fill in the top plates. And today, that's just not going to cut it. So you're going to have to give it a little more thought. And again, here's another situation where you have a pipe coming up. Here's the break, not going to be a big deal. You know, put a couple of nails on each side. And then after, when you've got the whole house framed, all of the plumbing and the electrical is in. And I've done this plenty of times too. It doesn't specify that the nails have to go down from the top. They can actually go up from the bottom. And something like this just might work out great for you. Just simply put your 12 nails on each side of the break. Electrician, the plumber, they're not going to have very many nails to run into. And that could be a win-win deal. Now here's another tip, and this one here is easy to do, and that would simply be to put the nail just a little bit over on each side of every wall framing stud. And if you're going to stagger your nails, you can simply see how I have one on this side of the framing plate and one over here on this side of the framing plate, but they're right off to the side here. The reason for that is to avoid hitting the nails that you already drove into the framing studs below. So hopefully this makes sense. Here are the nails staggered. The plumber has an open spot, the electrician here. If you put the nails in the middle, then the plumber and the electrician are not going to be your best friend. But something like this, yes, they will. And especially if you're doing the work yourself. You know, I can't tell you how many times I would frame something and then go through and put the plumbing and electrical in and then hit the nails that I drove in myself before I locked this little nugget of wisdom away in my brain. So that's it for the video. Hope it helps. If it does, you know what to do. Hit the thumbs up button, and any questions, leave them in the comment area and I will answer them as soon as possible.